G'day everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today I think it's fair to say we're targeting the Saints fans out there today. It has been a massive season and it's about time that I cover it in full. So today, for the Saints fans out there, you're going to want to stick around because we are reviewing the 2020 St Kilda AFL season and we will get straight into it. First off, covering some key criteria that happened throughout the season. Let's get into it. Alrighty, let's get into some key criteria for this one. The first of one, it is the inevitable. We finished 6th on the premiership ladder after finishing 14th the year before. I personally predicted them to finish 8th, which was a bit of a wild call. No one expected St Kilda to make finals. They're on the cusp, but they absolutely exceeded all expectations and finished 6th on the ladder, and that is just something that brought joy to Saints fans, giving them hope, and the reason why we finished 6th on the ladder was arguably because of the 5 new pickups, including Dougal Howard, Dan Butler, Brad Hill, Zach Jones, and Paddy Ryder. All 5 of them played pivotal roles in St Kilda's ascend up the ladder. What was so good about those 5 players is that they added so much class, so much premiership experience. I mean, Hill, Butler, they have both won grand finals, and the other 2, Ryder, Dougal Howard, and Zach Jones, have all played finals experience. So they add that experience that St Kilda were lacking, and they also, all 5 of them, are high pressure players, especially Dan Butler and Zach Jones, adding to that high pressure game that the Saints pride themselves on. So adding those 5 players really added the sense of belief to the squad, and it just changed the way the Saints played, and you could see it on the field. The impact of those 5 players, having them in the side, and the impact that those 5 players had on the existing players was very obvious, as our inside 50 game was very, very high pressure, and I think for most of the season we were actually leading the competition in most goals scored within 15 metres of the goals, which just outlines how high pressure our forward 50 were operating this season, and full credit to the team for that. And I think another key criteria was our back line. We had a back 6 that clicked this season. We had Jake Carlisle, Callum Wilkie, I should say, and Dougal Howard operating as the 3 big men that really held the back line together, the 3 generals of the back line. And then you can't go past the 3 little guys. Well, they're not really that little, but the 3 halfback flankers, we should say, the halfback flankers in the back pocket, consisting of Ben Patton, Nick Caulfield, and Hunter Clark. All 6 of those worked together as a cohort, the backline cohort, and you could tell when in games that really came down to the wire, the backline came to life, and the class of Caulfield and Clark, the reliability of Howard, Wilkie, and Carlisle, they all clicked, and was a big reason why the Saints went so far. Having a backline that works together and works well together is a crucial part of a successful side. And the last key criteria we're going to go through is the ruck. Arguably the best ruck duo in the AFL, young Rowan Marshall and the experience of Paddy Ryder. They just work so well together. Paddy Ryder, you could tell he has not lost it at all. His ruck craft in the middle in some of those games was brilliant, so to say, and his craft was shown perfectly in the Western Bulldogs elimination final. He was best on ground. Unfortunately suffered that injury. And Rowan Marshall, he was just outstanding this year, taking his game from strength to strength. Both of them fed off each other, and Ryder, he was a classy player, and he certainly helped the development of Rowan Marshall this season. So if they go in for another round, I reckon we're going to have a bloody good ruck going into the 2021 AFL Premiership season. So that's the end of the key criteria. We may as well go through some highlights for the season, some games that really really got us Saints fans up and about, and it's hard to go past the elimination final against the Bulldogs. First finals win in over 10 years. It was just a brilliant sign. Absolute sight to behold for all St Kilda fans around the nation. A long-awaited win in the finals, and boy did they leave us guessing. We thought we were home. Doggies came back because St Kilda chucked the lead in true St Kilda fashion, but luckily they got over the line, and that was probably the best game I watched all season. Closely followed by I'm going to have three highlights for the games this year. First one, it's it's got to be the Port Adelaide game. The Port Adelaide game, we go into Adelaide Oval, we never win an Adelaide Oval, go over facing Port Adelaide, they're at the top of their game, top of the ladder team, and we just stayed on top of them the whole game, and in the fourth quarter we just got over the line. So that was a brilliant game. Richmond, back when it was in Marvel, we getting over the eventual premiers, that was just a sign of what was to come for the Saints in 2020. They put on an absolute clinic against Richmond. They were just left them guessing. And the Gold Coast Suns game was also another nail biter that the Saints narrowly got over the line. Saints fans' hearts were in our mouths, and yeah, that was just another brilliant game for the year. So there's plenty more that I could cover, but those were the 4 games that really stuck out to me, and no doubt the other Saints fans going around. And on to the most improved. Now, it's hard to go past anyone here because I reckon the entire team improved some part of their game. So credit to the entire St Kilda list. I reckon every single player that played a game in season 2020 improved one aspect of their game. But of course, we'd be here for ages if we covered every single one of the players that played. So we're going to outline 3 players that were the biggest improvers in my eyes. And I'm going to start things off. You can't go past the both of them. They're a pair. It's Hunter Clark and Nick Caulfield, taking their games to a whole another level. Picked 7 and 8 in it was a couple of drafts ago. They hadn't set the world on fire, to be honest. I was starting to think, who are these blokes? This season they come out and they show what they're all about. Hunter Clark, he's a classy player, showing his composure in high pressure situations throughout the season. His ball use is superb, and his class along the half back line can't be faulted. And Nick Caulfield, he's much like Hunter Clark. He's from the same draft, playing in the same position. But what is to be highlighted about Nick Caulfield's game is his intercept ability. The intercept marks he took, and the crucial intercept marks he took, were just in such big moments in games. He really helped St Kilda get over the line in some of the close games we played this season, and because his intercept marks was just so reliable, and not only his intercept marks, just his marking in general was just so reliable, and he's just a perfect general off the half-back line. He could even post captaincy material down the track in his career. And another improver, it's hard to go past. You can't go past him. I've got the Man of Steel shirt on for a reason. The first time All-Australian, Jack Steele, taking his game to an incredibly new high, becoming an A-grade midfielder, finishing 3rd in the Brownlow. What didn't this bloke do this season? He was just... He was relieved of the tagging role, is what really happened. Brett Ratton, he was originally a tagger, and he was set free this year by Brett Ratton, and boy oh boy was that a good decision, because he changed games. He was a match winner. There were games this season, his clearance game was incredible, added to his hardball get mentality. He slotted a couple goals, took a couple marks. He was the complete package this season, and he was a deserving recipient of a inaugural All-Australian Blazer. Yeah, hats off to Jack Steele. He was a force to be reckoned with this season. The heart and soul of the St Kilda midfield, and you got to give him credit. He was an absolute gun this season, and exciting to see what he can do for the rest of his career. Because if he's doing this at such a young age, he could take the competition by storm. Alrighty, moving on from the improvers, we're going to go to some talking points. These talking points are going to cover this year, but mostly next year, and how we're going to go next year, and how we can take the brilliance of this season into next season. So the first talking point I'm going to cover this season is it's hard to go past. He was the big, they call him Winks, and it's Max King. Max King was hyped up so much, and I think a lot of people started to wonder whether the hype was actually worth it. And this season, he played a full season, which was the absolute best case scenario for Max, playing a full season injury-free, and seeing what he could do at such a young age. He didn't clunk every single mark he went for, but the fact that he's going for them and he's putting up a contest every inside 50 is just absolutely the stuff you want to see from this big Max King, because he's been compared to Nick Riewoldt, and that is a lot of pressure to be put on for one young 19-year-old kid. But it's fair to say he lived up to his expectations. His goal kicking needs some work, and his marking needs some work. But for a first season player, he was absolutely brilliant. He took a fair amount of marks, and once he bulks up and gets in the gym and gets a couple of pre-seasons underneath him, he's going to take the competition by storm. Keen to see what Max can do and how he can run the forward line and how our mids can really utilise him, because yeah, once he bulks up, he's going to be an absolute figure in our forward line. It's going to be exciting to see. And the second talking point, we're going to talk about the Brads, and I'm talking about Brad Hill and the newly recruited Brad Crouch from Adelaide. So it's fair to say, Bradley Hill, he was probably underwhelming, to be fair. He didn't have a bad season, but he was probably underwhelming considering the hype around him and the recent form he was in. But I reckon it was just a year for Brad to get a year under his belt at the Saints, see what he's all about, and he did pretty well to his credit, but he didn't do as well as everyone thought he would. But I reckon he comes out there next year after seeing and getting a feel for how the Saints operate. He's going to be a force next year, so I reckon Hill is going to take the Saints game up a notch. And with the addition of Brad Crouch, these are two experienced, classy midfielders who I reckon, with the addition of Steele, Gresham, Zach Jones, our midfield's going to be bloody awesome next year. And I'll tell you what, it's going to be a very dangerous midfield next season, and I'm excited to see where what happens. So, in conclusion, I think it's fair to say, from where we sat last year at 14th on the ladder, having talent that wasn't utilised by Alan Richardson, for Brett Ratton to come into the head coaching role, take a team from 14th on the ladder to 6th, and then win a final, ultimately to play the eventual premiers in the semi-final, is just absolutely extraordinary. So I'm going to take this time to tip my hat to Brett Ratton, because you, my friend, have arguably the reason we've got where we are now. Brett Ratton, he's created such a positive environment amongst the club, and he's making his group want to improve and want to succeed. And that is something a coach should want to get out of their playing group, because if a coach wants that out of their players and demands that out of their players, the players will want to listen to him, because Rat is making himself someone that is to be listened to. He has the respect of the playing group, and have a playing group to have such a nice, tight-knit bond with the coach is something all teams would aspire to have. And Brett Ratton is really taking our club to where we want to be in the years to come. And last but not least, it's the people behind we got to acknowledge the people behind the scenes. The St Kilda Brain Trust, led by Simon Lethaline, to get those 5 players in, and to get some new people in this trade period as well. The Brains Trust and the head of football, the recruiting manager, those blokes are absolutely setting the Saints on fire. They are giving Brett Ratton the pieces to the puzzle that he needs to make this the most successful side as he possibly can. So the recruiting staff and the Brains Trust of St Kilda, tip my hat to you too, because you're the reason we have the list we have, because you gathered the talent, you made the club a club that people want to go to, and that's ultimately a stroke of genius in last year's trade period and this year's trade period. And last but not least, on the back of the 2020 season, we were in Queensland for the majority of the season, so I am so excited to see what we can do in Melbourne, because we had such a great record at Marvel, and we've gone from Marvel to playing in Queensland to ultimately playing a winning season in Queensland that got us to the finals, and then winning in Queensland even more in the final. So I'm excited to see where we go in Melbourne, and I'm so excited to see what 2021 has in store, because the way we played last year gave St Kilda fans so much hope and so much joy, and dare I say it, our premiership window might have just opened, and that is something I'm not gonna go banging on about that, because as St Kilda fans we're very superstitious. But the premiership window, the way we played last year, and if we can replicate that, I reckon the premiership window is well and truly, if it's not open already, it's going to be opening next season. So massive season up ahead in 2021 on the back of a brilliant season that no one really saw coming. And we didn't see it coming, but boy oh boy were we glad to see it, because I think I speak on behalf of all St Kilda fans. When we were just sick of that average season, we took that average season to the next level and got where we wanted to be, and we are headed in the right direction thanks to Brett Ratton, the playing staff, the whole club. So that'll probably conclude our 2020 Premiership season review for the Saints. It was one hell of a season, and I hope to see another season the same, if not better, than the one we had, and go even further into September. To all the Saints fans watching, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below, just to see what our season was like, what your opinions were on the season. And with that being said, I reckon we conclude the Saints review. And I reckon that's a wrap, because thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you around. Catch ya.